before the Russian aggression against Ukraine, you'll remember that they had President Xi and President Putin had a meeting in which they declared a partnership with no limits or limitless friendship, depending on how you translate it. And to some extent, we continue to see that play out. I think in many ways with Russia now as the very junior partner in this relationship, but a partner that may serve some interests that China has.
That was Secretary of State Anthony Blinken testifying in front of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on Chinese leader Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin's increasingly strong relationship following the 3-day state visit to Moscow by Xi Jinping. Xi reportedly telling Putin, quote, "There are changes that have not happened in 100 years. When we are together, we drive these changes." The two leaders also signing agreements affirming their partnership and economic cooperation for the next several years. Joining me right now is the Atlas Organization founder. He's the author of The Decisive Decade, the book just out. Pick it up, a must-read. Author Jonathan D.T. Ward is here right now. Jonathan, thanks for being here. How do you see or view this relationship between China and Russia? What does it mean for America?
Hi, Maria. Well, it's really a return of the Russia-China axis. I mean, there was a Sino-Soviet alliance that lasted about 10 years from 1950 to 1960, let's say, in the early Cold War. And that involved the Korean War, multiple Taiwan Strait crises, and created a two-front challenge for the United States. So they're back, in a sense. You know, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin are both products of the Russian and Chinese revolutions, respectively. I mean, Xi lived in caves in Shanxi during the Mao's Cultural Revolution. His father played a key role in the Chinese Communist Revolution, and then, Vladimir Putin was a KGB officer in Eastern Germany, ensconced in the sort of Warsaw Pact world. So in that sense, these two revolutions have returned. We never really finished this. Cold War II, I think the best argument for Cold War II is it's the same characters, Russia and China. Never really finished the job. They're back. They're working together one more time. Russia's the junior partner now. I think that's going to go very badly for them in the long run. They're basically going to become a resource satrapy for the People's Republic of China. And in the meantime, they're going to consolidate this economic relationship that's going to present very big challenges for the United States. So, it means that we have to go forward with economic containment of China. It makes no sense at all at this point to have a global economy that's dependent on a totally hostile state that's breaking bread with Vladimir Putin, economically backing his invasion of Ukraine and preparing for war with the United States in the Pacific. I mean, we have to get past the insanity of economic engagement with this hostile state.
I don't think we're doing that, though, Jonathan.
No,
I mean, look at how China still has most favored nation status on trade. Look at the trade deficit. I mean, wouldn't that be one lever to pull to try to push back on all of the provocations? Instead, we're doing nothing.
Well, I don't think these are our levers alone. I mean, the argument that, for example, our supply chains pass through an adversary state and that's somehow our leverage, that's not our leverage, that's their leverage. This economic relationship is one that they know how to use and we do not. The best thing we could do is to be closing it off and, scaling it back so that we're, so they're not growing anymore. I mean, that's really what you want to stop. You don't want them to become more economically powerful and capable and to have deeper roots into the global economy. That's really what this is about, capacity, not influence over a state that's absolutely clear about what it wants to achieve. What matters is that it no longer has the capacity to do that. It has to be restrained, constrained, and contained. Yeah. This is how we beat totalitarian states in the past without having to go to war, and it's the best path forward in the future. And I think the Putin-Xi visit just proves the nature of this regime, the tightness of these two, and their shared strategic coordination. I mean, they call it the Comprehensive Partnership of Strategic Coordination for a New Era, and that's exactly what it means. They pledged mutual support for each other's core interests. Last year at the Beijing Olympics, Putin recognized China's claims to Taiwan, and Xi pledged his support for Putin in Europe. I mean, it's absolutely clear. It should be very clear.
And yet, the Chinese Communist Party has been able to infiltrate America on so many levels, from academia, Hollywood, corporate America, to the surveillance platforms. The CEO of TikTok, Shou Zi will testify on Capitol Hill this morning on TikTok's consumer privacy and data practices, its relationship with the Chinese Communist Party. But in prepared remarks, Shou is expected to tell House lawmakers this. He writes this in prepared remarks: "I understand that there are concerns stemming from the inaccurate belief that TikTok's corporate structure makes it beholden to the Chinese government or that it shares information about U.S. users with the Chinese government. This is emphatically untrue." Jonathan, your reaction?
Well, look, the problem with TikTok is ByteDance, which is absolutely beholden to the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, this is one of China's tech giants. It's got relationships with the Chinese state. I believe there are state-owned enterprises that own shares or, have influence over ByteDance. The Associated Press reports that 1 of 3 board seats is held by a Chinese Communist Party member. It has an internal Chinese Communist Party committee that meets regularly to study Xi Jinping's speeches, according to courts. And then, I read through this testimony, and I think he says something very interesting here, which he says, "We do not believe that a ban that hurts American small businesses, damages the country's economy, and silences the voices of over 150 million Americans, et cetera, is a solution." And there's your problem right there. I mean, silencing the voices of over 150 million Americans, I don't think we need to have that kind of influence, in this country when it comes to a company that's linked to ByteDance, one of the AI giants. And, that kind of reach in here, that's what our lawmakers are going to be talking about, the dangers of having that kind of reach into our society. 150 million Americans on this platform. And he's basically saying, it's too big to change. And no, I think you have to stop this before it becomes even bigger. And then it's odd, he sort of references that ByteDance is a global company, and he brings up, as a point of information, that Neil Shen of Sequoia China is one of the board members of ByteDance. Well, Neil Shen of Sequoia China was a member of the 10th Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference National Committee. That's a Communist Party committee.
Well,
and then he's also involved apparently with the China's Center for China and Globalization, which was founded by the United Front, which is essentially Chinese intelligence.
Jonathan,
so,
hold on,
I'm not sure these are
You're saying a lot of stuff. Just hold on, Jonathan. You just mentioned Neil Shen from Sequoia. Sequoia is one of the country's most premier venture capital firms. They're raising money for small companies. They're putting U.S. investors in Chinese companies as well. How is it possible that Neil Shen, a member of the Communist Party or one of those committees that you just mentioned, is running Sequoia, America's premier venture capital fund? Right there, isn't that right there telling us that America is funding the expansion of communist China?
Well, Sequoia China, Sequoia China, yeah, it's pretty involved in China's tech sector, and then apparently its director is involved with the Communist Party itself. So, that's just what's public information. There's probably much more to learn.
They say Neil Shen runs Sequoia China, but not Sequoia U.S. Is that possible?
That's right, Sequoia China. Sequoia China, that's what it says.
Yeah, that's what it says. Jonathan, thanks very much. We'll keep a watch on all of this.